Electric guitar is the best it's ever been, dude. I've been playing guitar, writing music, teaching, and just engaging with guitar music for over 20 years now, and I've seen so much positive change over that time that it's hard not to get excited about it. A big part of me is convinced that we're living through the best time in the electric guitar's history, and to prove it, here's my top 5 reasons why. And just so we're on the same page before we start, this video is heavily opinionated. Don't take what I'm saying as gospel, because your views are just as important as mine, so leave a comment if there's anything that you agree with, disagree with, or something else that you want to talk about that you love about electric guitar. Gear has never been better or cheaper. If there's one thing that ties all guitar players together for the most part, unless we're arguing over tone wood or something, it's gear. It doesn't matter what genre you play, what guitars you like, we all know that new guitar day feeling. Right now, it's easier to experience that than ever at whatever stage in your playing you are and whatever budget you've got. Guitar technology and manufacturing processes have just improved year on year, and all your favourite brands have got bigger and wider offerings with more materials, more colours, more specs. And probably best of all, the entry-level guitars that you can put your hands on now are miles ahead of what players used to get for the same money just a few years ago. Actually, let me grab this thing, because it's probably a good time to just give it a little bit of a tease. We're spoilt for choice right now, dude, and that means that literally everybody can find a guitar that they love at a price that's right for them. What that also means is that more people can get into the world of playing guitar on the right footing, and that can only be a good thing. It's not that long ago, actually it's like 20 years ago, so maybe it is that long ago and I just feel old as now. It's not that long ago that budget guitars were all pretty much Strat shaped, played like absolute ass, and you paid about 180 quid for the pleasure. Looking at you, Squire, and your Affinity Strat kits in the Argos catalogue. If you're from the UK, then you definitely know what I'm talking about. I knew about 3 dudes who started playing guitar on that exact kit. But now, dude, with that kind of money, you can get a guitar that is like 10x the quality and playability of what they used to be, and it'll last you forever. I'm still baffled by what you can get now for such little money. It's awesome. And if you're a dentist or an OF model or an OF dentist with a little more cash to spend, then you can get pretty much anything you could ever want. The amount of choice and variation in the market now is absolutely unreal, and pretty much every genre and subgenre you could think of has got a brand that's catering solidly to it. Not only that, but the ability and knowledge to build guitars in the past was not something that you could gain easily. Now, there are some incredibly skilled and talented boutique builders that are putting their skills to good use, making incredible one-off instruments. Like Demiurge Guitars from Italy. Jan makes some of the most beautiful guitars that I've ever seen, and because he's a one-man operation, the whole thing is just absolutely oozing with passion and just a real show of Italian craftsmanship. I'm going to put his links below, drop him a follow on Instagram and a sub on YouTube, because his work deserves it, dude. For me, the real win is how accessible and how good quality entry-level guitars are right now. New players are the lifeblood of the guitar industry, and without them, the entire thing falls apart. The ecosystem all the way up to artisan builders needs them. Luckily, they're well looked after in terms of gear. Unprecedented access to learning. So I'm part of the last generation that remembers the times before the internet, right? The dark ages. No mobile phones, no Facebook, no connectivity. We used to sit in our village huts with straw roofs, huddled around the fire, doing our best to learn songs that the village bard was playing on his lute, like Sweeteth Child of Mine and Entereth Thine Sandman. I'm obviously fucking about, but to be honest, the bit about no Facebook and no social media was actually awesome. But before the internet, you literally had like 2 ways of learning guitar. Finding a local teacher or just working it out yourself by listening to music. But now, dude, literally all of the history of guitar knowledge is encapsulated in this little Pandora's screen. Like this platform that you're watching me on right now is literally the world's biggest teacher of not just guitar, but anything you could ever possibly want to fucking learn. I mean, I'm no electrician, but after I watched an 8-minute video on YouTube, I went and replaced my bathroom's extractor fan.
But I'm sure it's... Install GFCI in bathrooms, people.
And then after that, it taught me how to repot my jade plants without killing them. That's sick. But if you are learning guitar, there is a lesson for literally everything you could ever want to know on this platform. If you've got the time to wade through the hundreds and thousands of hours of content on this to find the exact lessons that you need to play guitar better, you can learn everything you'd want to. Taking it a step further, if you feel like you've outgrown self-paced lessons on YouTube, you can hop on the internet and find a teacher who's going to be ready and willing to help you get better at guitar. And even further than that, Experienced guitar players know that you never stop learning, and the accessibility to world-class players is all there, online. You can get lessons with Paul fucking Gilbert, for fuck's sake. It's literally never been easier to get access to learning for guitar, dude, and that is a wonderful thing. More genres and sounds than ever before. With all the above, like the forward motion of the guitar gear industry and the access to just incredible learning materials, this created this massive melting pot that's left us where we are now. A place where musicians in all genres are pushing the boundaries and refining what this incredible instrument can actually do. Seriously, the level of guitar players that we have now is absolutely unreal, and they're making sounds that would have been unimaginable just like 10 or 20 years ago. One of the bands that I always think about when I think of this kind of forward motion is Periphery. Whether they like it or not, what they created was so unique that the people who enjoyed it just had to name it. Gent became its own creature and just absolutely engulfed the wider metal and progressive metal scene. Now, it's hard not to find Periphery's influence all over the hard-hitting guitar parts that modern players are putting out now. Another example, Aaron Marshall from Intervals. Oh my god, will you stop going on about Intervals for just a minute? Sorry about that, that was kind of rude. So like I was saying, Aaron from Intervals has spent a long time crafting a sound that is totally unique to him. It's got a massive emphasis on hooks that incorporates gent, electronica, metalcore, pop punk, just this like eclectic mix of music that in my opinion has pushed progressive guitar forward so much. And I need to mention Jack Gardner too, because he's putting out new music right now and it's all absolute heaters. Jack's modern approach to fusion playing is on another level entirely, and it shows that for a genre that's been around for a good few years now, there's still loads of room to innovate. And the best thing about all of this is that it's readily available. Now I will preface by saying that I am a certified short form content hater, but I would be dumb if I couldn't admit that there are some massive positives to it, even though I think it's destroying society. The thing is, you've got to use it right, dude. But if you manage to, you will be able to find a whole world of new, interesting and innovative players that are making sounds on the instrument that you've almost never heard before. Another cool thing is that they often show you exactly how to get the sounds that they're making with the absolute ton of gear that we can get our hands on now. Back in the day, it was all just about cranking a valve amp and letting rip, dude, but now the technology is just as important in some genres. Creative freedom, community, and the democratization of music. The creativity I was just talking about is what makes the guitar scene such a cool place to be right now. From the dudes like me who write and record their own music in their spare room, to the niche online communities that just follow like one particular type of guitar, or just to the dudes who are selling out massive venues and everyone in between. Music has been fully democratized, and literally everybody who's ever picked a guitar up has the chance to find the people just like them and have their music heard. Little pockets of people like exist all over the internet that are just ready and hungry to soak up new music from their favorite niche. If you make the music, it's totally possible with a little bit of work to find those people. And if you're one of the people listening, there's always going to be new and interesting players cropping up for you to get excited about. Growing up in the late 2000s and early 2010s, I was like neck deep in the MySpace era of alternate music. As questionable as our styles might have been, I don't remember a time where the hunger for new music, seeing gigs and playing in bands was ever higher. Going to local shows to see all the bands, whether they were just starting out or whether they were super well known in the scene, was a massive part of our lives, and it was fucking awesome. It's so much easier nowadays to go hunting for the hidden gem guitar players and see what they're up to. Players like you and anyone else who's making their own music doesn't need a label anymore. In fact, I'd say it's probably a fucking shit idea to try and get a label deal. Discounting the handful of indies that seem to genuinely care about the music that they're trying to spread, labels seem to be more predatory than ever, and the only thing that you'd really get out of it is a cash advance that you've got to pay back. You can literally do the rest of the process, whether it's the writing, the recording, mixing, mastering, or whether it's the promoting, whether it's any marketing, you can do it all yourself. That means you get to keep control over your music and the music you're making. There's all of a kettle of fish about how much streams are worth and that sort of thing, and it's bums. but I'm not going to go into it right now because a lot of the other stuff is so good for players. If you can tap into one of the small but active communities surrounding your type of guitar playing, then you're golden, dude. There's no hiding from the fact that guitar music just isn't as big as it used to be, but the flip side of that is the people that are still involved and actively listening to it are more engaged than they've fucking ever been. They really give a proper fuck about the instrument and the music around it. These people want to see guitar music succeed, and it means that they're often super active in helping spread the word, share bands that they care about. I mean, since I've been making videos on my own music, I've spoken to some of the coolest people that I've ever spoken to in my life, and you can tell that they're so into this thing that when guitar time does roll back around, they're going to be right there giving it the push it needs. But until then, there's always going to be people who care about this instrument and the music it makes. The skill ceiling keeps rising. Finally, something that really gives me hope for this instrument and the health of guitar is how people are still pushing the envelope of what's capable on it. The average skill level keeps rising, and I think that's a combination of all the previous things that I've already spoken about. Like right now, you can open up any social media platform and see a teenager playing guitar parts that rival the stuff that was making guitar players famous back in the 80s. The level of technique, theory understanding and musicality from young players is absolutely mind-blowing. And it all comes down to the community sharing what they know, knowledge becoming more and more available, and then the tools that young players need to succeed on this instrument just becoming more affordable and more accessible anyway. As well as having infinite inspiration and encouragement from players in the communities surrounding guitar. When I was coming up, you might catch a riff on Scuzz or Kerrang TV, and then you'd probably spend that afternoon trying to work it out after hearing it once. You wouldn't know anything about it, you wouldn't know the tuning, you wouldn't know sometimes even how many strings the guitar had got. But if you were lucky, you'd manage to find a tab online that someone had written in like a Word or Notepad document, and they would usually shit, but it was all still in its infancy, right? Now you can slow parts down. You can find videos of the players playing the part that you're learning within seconds. You can probably find good tabs for what you need online, and you could just sit there and have it absolutely nailed within a couple of hours. We're spoiled as guitar players, man, but to be honest, that can only be a good thing because it's contributing to this level of playing that just keeps rising and rising and rising. And the awesome thing about all that is I don't think technical playing is ruining guitar. That's just something that the no-feel crowd like to say to justify only playing bends on their dentist-grade PRSs. The striving for technicality is keeping the guitar alive, and to be honest, we need it. Constant forward motion and improvement to what can be done on this instrument is keeping the blood pumping through its veins. So I'm always incredibly happy to see new and interesting players showing that there's still life in the old girl yet. And I guess it's not even technicality in the original sense of the word. People have been shredding since the 80s. It's the way technique is changing and evolving. It's the new ways to play that are keeping everything fresh and exciting and giving players like you and me a reason to keep pushing forwards with what we're doing. I mean, people are blending lightning fast shred with jazz, gent with pop, metal with lo-fi, and it's all this experimentation that keeps pushing everything forwards. So yeah, maybe guitar's not at its peak right now, but there are still some incredibly talented and passionate players that are helping move guitar forward. And if that carries on, then the next wave of like huge guitar music is just around the corner. So dude, I hope you're sat now with like a bit of renewed hope in the current state of guitar, because I genuinely think we're in a great place. It's a great time to be a guitar player. However, if you need bringing back down to earth, I actually made a sister video to this one, talking about all the reasons that some people might think that guitar is the worst it's ever been. That video went up at exactly the same time as this one, so if you want to, go and check it out. Before you go and give that other video a watch, I just want to leave you with this. Most things in life are great. They're somewhere in the middle of being good and bad, and it's all about prioritizing the things that you care about most so that you can be happy. Guitar is no different. There might be things that you love about guitar, there might be things that you hate about guitar, but it's all about prioritizing the things that make you happiest so you've got the energy to work on the stuff that you don't like so much. I hope this video brought a little bit of positivity to your guitar playing life, and just keep going, dude. I'll see you in the other video. Thanks for checking this one out. Take care, stay safe, keep playing.